Sound travels 5 times faster through water than it does through air, and 5 times faster through bone than it does through water. So sound at this level is really resonating and moving the cells and impacting what is a very liquid, fluid body, and then also the invisible body.
You know, at the time, before I found sound, or right at the point I found sound, I was in a relationship that was not good. I was in a job that I hated. I was a biologist sitting behind a desk, and I was miserable. I was a whole other different person. I hated what I was doing, and I had no idea, like, kind of what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. And the gongs themselves and playing the sounds have been so healing for me. And I have shifted incredibly since I started doing this. Some of the things that I use to kind of explain how sound healing affects are, one, its effect on the nervous system. Is our nervous system is very sensitive, and we run around all day. We're around, Wi-Fi waves, fluorescent lighting, all that kind of stuff that our nervous system will start to, one, entrain with, so start to tune into all those different sounds, frequencies around us, even the ones we don't hear. What we're trying to do with sound is what sound healing can do with the gongs, with the bowls, healing sounds, especially without words. But it tunes our nervous system, so our nervous system can entrain or match with a frequency that's more healing. So instead of the fluorescent lighting, the Wi-Fi signal, the traffic, the leaf blower, we offer sounds that are more soothing to the nervous system. My goal is because sound is such a therapeutic, it's an amazing modality. It's a tool for meditation. It's a tool to expand your consciousness. It's a tool to change your perspective of life. And it's a tool to just relax. And to me, has been one of the most therapeutic ways to handle and to move through those emotions.
As a young kid with my synthesizer is where I'd have to say it all really started. I attribute that whole experience of connecting with music on that level to being like the sole reason why I got an early head start into my 20s, of really like feeling connected to who I was, my purpose in the world, and feeling like I was able to cope with my past and my childhood, whatever it is that adults have to go through. I use a synthesizer, and one thing that's really been very fascinating for me is exploring different pitch tunings. And the 432 hertz is something that I use. But what I found most fascinating is that all of our music is tuned to a 440 hertz standard, which means that the A in the middle of the keyboard vibrates at a universal standard across the board. And I started to learn about the 432A, which is just a slight difference in pitch of 8 hertz. And more or less, you tune everything down just slightly, and all of the octaves and all of the frequencies have a different numerological value than they do in the 440 hertz tuning and the pitch. So there's very much a physical approach as well, and a scientific approach in how the platform and the system is then able to allow the consciousness of a facilitator to create a nice atmospheric texture and experience that takes it even deeper. The sounds directly affect and can help balance the internal nature of how we release hormones, and our own process of releasing chemicals is truly amazing and remarkable.
Years ago, people who knew me 5 years ago would say I was probably a different person now than I was back then. Because prior to getting into sound, I was, I wanted to pursue politics. And, I was a really angry person. I was very upset with everything and very emotionally reactive. And it was interesting because I was serving in a restaurant during that period of my life, and I was in a transitional period. And this person randomly asked me, "Have you ever been to a sound bath?" And I thought he was being perverted at first. I'm like, what is that, a sound bath? And so he gave me a contact and a reference, and I went to my first sound bath a couple months later. It was interesting because the sound was something I've never heard before. And it literally sounded like what you would imagine space would sound like. And it was interesting how these small instruments, especially planetary gongs, carried these types of frequencies. And it also evoked certain emotions and, emotional responses from me and physical responses as well. So it's interesting because now this is about, me coming into developing my own personality, my own identity. So it's basically calmed me down in a way where versus reacting. So it's really, brought about a lot of healing, and it kind of forces you to work with it. I was looking at studios in the area to start doing sound baths at, and wanted to incorporate it with yoga. And so particularly they wanted to do it with yin. So I actually had my first yin class, and it was a really yin restorative. So it has to do with working with the body and actually healing the body. And so I thought that was perfect because it went in harmony with sound healing. And so the moment I started working with the teacher during that time, it just kind of synced in and it worked out so well. It's helped with releasing the anxiety. There's, more joy and happiness. And even when I'm in a state where, things are a little bit difficult, I actually turn to sound and work with the energy to help myself.
We're letting go of the mind. And then take one more long, slow, deep breath. On the exhale, tell your own higher consciousness, thank you. And actually feel as much gratitude as you can from wherever you are right now. We'll begin at the root. The Integratron is located in the Mojave Desert, about 40 miles north of the Joshua Tree National Park. It's a very historic structure made from old-growth Douglas fir, an all-wood building with no metal fasteners, which is acoustically phenomenal. A building, an all-wood building, held together by a 1.5 tons of concrete and a composite ring at the top, creating an acoustically perfect sound coherentizing geometry. And so we began to work with varied sounds, all kinds of different sounds. It's the fusion of art, science, and magic.
I've been coming to the Integratron for 20 years, pretty close to 20 years now. I think this building kind of calls people. I mean, I've been here at times when, people have come from Australia, just to come for one night because they've seen it. There's something that happens here that's, you feel it, the energy, it's the magnetic vortex, resetting not just your inner geometry, but kind of your state of mind. And I also believe a lot of what people experience has to do with your willingness, or what you're willing to let go of, or how far you're willing to push yourself or try for new experiences. I had a partner who was addicted to pain meds, and it's just not pretty. And this was a place that really helped her a lot, kind of find a center without and escape some of that pain. And so I think a lot of times, physical pain is probably associated with our mental states of being. I feel like it's all connected. And this is a much nicer way, safer, more beautiful way to deal with pain.